You're welcome. Hit 'em.
Three.
What's up, guys? We're at the Arnold Expo. Sitting down with Liam Layton. Come by the booth. You love it, man.
Yeah, I am taking it all in. It is wild. I live 15 minutes from here. I've lived here for 8 years, and this is the first time. It's the first time I've got home.
What's wild is that you're not the first one we've heard at the booth that said that. But they've lived in the area for so many years, and this is the first time they've been. So, what's your first thought when you walk in?
Okay, first let me get by this person, and then the next person, and the next person, and repeat that like 200 more times, and then you'll find a booth, and then you'll find a big guy lifting a weight, and then a woman in her underwear, and then you'll find people doing pull-up contests everywhere you go. That's pretty much it.
It's a zoo.
It is kind of like a zoo. It's a human zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that would
Organized chaos.
That's right.
Organized chaos.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Which is life of a dad.
Yes, right. Live with Dad, which leads us to your new father. So how has that changed your life in the way you operate?
Oh man, let me tell you. Having a kid, they always say, people always say, when you have a kid, everything changes. It pretty much does. My days, I am so fortunate that I do social media for a living because this girl, she's a year and a half old. She don't sleep. She did not get the memo about sleep. She still wakes up every 2 hours. I'm like, you should not be waking up every 2 hours at a year and a half old. But she does, and she wakes up super early. So I take her. We go to basically the museum every morning.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is super cool. There's in Columbus, Ohio, there's a place called Cosi. It's like one of the best kids museums out in the country. And we go there every day. It's perfect because she needs something just to see what's this, what's that, what's the next thing. She's at that age, and I'm so blessed that we go there every day.
That's awesome, man. So you've taken a different route in your career. You talk about being social media, going back to school, and so the things you talk about on social media in terms of nutrition and things like that, super important. So I got a two-folded question for you. Being here and seeing all the different things, the wrongs, the rights, the markets, what's your first take on that, as somebody that's educating themselves and trying to educate the public?
So the people that I'm trying to, I think this place is great.
Sure.
All right, this place is awesome. But a lot of people here are trying to optimize their tricep training, right? And that's so cool. Please do not, get me wrong at all. I think that's so dope, and keep doing that. If you need to focus on a certain head of your tricep and figure out that one, that's so cool. I'm trying to meet people who are I have no idea what's going on. Sure. I don't know what's a calorie, what's a macro, what's this, what's that, and just give the basics. Bring it down. Because how many videos have you seen? Okay, well, you gotta eat healthy, and you can't have the farm-raised salmon. You can have the berries, but only if they're organic, and all that sort of stuff. It's exhausting. Yeah, that's what I hear from people all the time. It's confusing. I don't know what's going on, and I just basically try and say those people are trying to sell you stuff for the most part, right? So I just try and bring it down and bring a little simplify. Exactly. So I love all this. It's super cool and just interesting. Bodybuilding, I enjoy it for the sport it is. But I don't get super into all the stuff. I'm just a guy trying to live his life. And that's what most people are trying to do. Work, nutrition, and health into their day-to-day life. So you still got to be human.
Right. Yes. Well, and that leads to why are we chasing edges if you can't hit the dartboard? You're trying to optimize tricep health, but you don't know you don't know how to make yourself a breakfast.
Oh my God. See, okay. So it's what kind of drives me crazy? It's I talk to people early on. They're like, okay, so what supplements should I be taking? What do I need? Creatine? Do I need this? I'm like, that's so cool. But when's the last time you ate a vegetable? They're my pizza, there was tomato sauce. Yes, sure. But let's just focus on the absolute basics. How can we get more fiber into your diet? That's kind of one thing on my social media. I talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
The average American gets 10, 15 grams a day, which is quite low. If you can just focus on that one thing, forget everything else just for a second. Stop being okay, I have to do this, this, and that. No. Okay, how do I get my fiber? These foods have fiber. Oh, I like that. I like beans. I like oats. I like fruit, bananas, whatever it is. I'll do that. Once I feel more comfortable, then I can move on to the next thing. And that's basically my strategy.
It goes back to the military. Yeah. The KISS method.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid. Really? That's all it is, really. The harder you make it, the harder it is. If you can, like you said, start with fiber and build on that. And then once you get that under control, then you go to protein. All right, cool.
I think
Now we got
steps.
that.
Hey,
Yeah.
I only take 5,000 steps a day. Oh, can we move up that to like 7?
Yeah.
I think we could do that. People are like, no, I'm gonna go to the gym 6 days a week.
Right.
Like, what? How you go run right now and you're gonna do 6 days a week
Yeah.
for years? No, you'll do that for 2 weeks and then you'll burn out.
Yes. Yeah. Well, then that entails. So your daughter's 1.5.
Like,
She's pretty much told she doesn't really get a choice in what she eats and what she, she's getting her crawling steps in,
Yeah.
So for you, as getting ready to raise up a child, what kind of things do you want to be intentional about in raising her in a world that's the influence around her in health and fitness and all that stuff can pull you so many directions? What does Liam want her to know?
in one word, I would just say balance. It's the most important thing because it will take nutrition because that's what I do. Like, I see so much stuff around parents like I'm never gonna give my kids these foods. These are bad foods. Like I will never refer to a food as good or bad. That's very important to me. This is food. Yes, you should be focusing on nutrition. These are foods for your bones, your hair. This is for you to grow strong. Like that sort of stuff is great. But like that's Cool Ranch Doritos. I don't know what it is about Cool Ranch Doritos.
Hey, preach, man.
Yes, I'm more of a purple Rito fan myself. The sweet Thai chili.
Oh, now we're talking.
Sweet chili.
Sweet chili.
Chili is the best
Let's go.
burrito, and I will not
Put
hear
that in a bologna
otherwise.
sandwich. You gotta get
No.
white with
So
bologna.
this is my thing with the Doritos. So I'm a youth pastor. I work with teens. They all want the Cool Ranch. I say the Cool Ranch is your immature palate. When you get better, you'll understand that the spicy chili's the best.
Listen. I love spice and heat so much. My wife finds paprika hot, and she can't
Oh,
do it. It's like balance. We go to an Indian place, and like 1 to 7, like 7. She's like 0, and that's pretty. So we'll see with my daughters. But basically, yes, with my daughter, I'm gonna try and just show her that like yes, you can absolutely have all of these foods. It's okay. I'm not gonna put anything off limits because if you take foods and put them off limits for kids, as soon as they hit school, as soon as they go to a friend's house, no holds barred.
Right.
Yeah. It's all fuel. Whether you put you got to put fuel in your car, right? Sometimes you're gonna put diesel in it, and it's not gonna run very well. But when you put that premium in it, guess what? You're gonna find that you're gonna get better gas mileage out of it and everything else.
Over time, that stuff cycles itself out.
Yeah.
Whether it's a different gas station or another, they all put different ingredients in it.
Yes.
Guess what? Over time, that bond is going to fuel itself out. You're going to have anything. It's all going to play out for you.
Like, do you know why I eat healthy? It's not because I think I have to or because of all these different reasons. I just feel better.
Sure. Yes.
If I wake up and I have a 12-piece Popeye's chicken, which don't get me wrong, delicious, delicious. But like, I'm not gonna feel very good at breakfast if that's what I have.
No.
So I just try and focus on nutritious foods, and I just feel so much better. And I just
Yeah.
have so
Yes.
much
Well, and that leads to you feel better, so you can be there for your kid. Because there's people that don't have that nutrition figured out. Like you said, they don't know the basics, and they wonder, why do I feel so tired all the time? Why do I feel sluggish? I can't go play with my kid. My kid's got all this energy. Well, what have you figured out what you're doing?
Right.
And so I think that's a great thing you're doing to educate, motivate those things. So then coming back to the dad stuff, outside of that, that's what you do. So your daughter will see you, awesome dude on social media doing education, but she's gonna be like, yeah, that's awesome, but he's my dad. So what things do you want her to take and to see in your life and the way you operate that you want her to be able to model and say, Dad, this was important to Dad?
I would probably just go back to what I said about balance before, but not just in like nutrition, because obviously that's important, but like everything in life. It's about, being able to enjoy yourself, but also doing the things that you need to do, right? Because there's things I need to get done. So I make sure I get those done, but I leave space to have fun. And it's really important for me that she be a kid. When I went my first through 8th grade, I went to a school. It was called the Albany Free School. Okay, here's the small thing about that school. It didn't have any tests, classes, quizzes, or homework. None of that. It was really about teaching kids to want to learn was the main idea, and just to be a kid and have fun. And I think that's so important. So I'm going to try and make sure, of course, she gets an education. Sure, she learns the basics and all of these things. But I think just being a kid and having fun is so important. And like to go back to what you were said, a lot of parents say, I wish I had the energy my kid does. Like, I got tons of energy.
We can tell.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
And a lot.
Yeah.
And really, and so, just by, obviously it's not just, like diet and everything. All of these things come to a factor. But you try and, like I said, balance before. So you try and exercise a little bit. You try and get a decent amount of sleep, and you try and eat a nutritious diet as much as you can, and you will find you just have more energy to keep up with them and let them be a kid and be a kid with them. You can't go back and be a kid. That's fun.
It's awesome. Yeah,
That is the best part of being a dad. That's one thing we always talk about is like, so we wrote in the book, like playfulness. You know, there's nothing better than being 43 years old, having a 4-year-old kid to be able to get on their level, get on the ground, wrestle, play, and then hop right back up and not be like, oh, like, here, help me up. And, you know, I pray for my wife all the time because I tell her she's the only adult in the family. She goes, hey, the boys want to go play laser tag. Guess what?
Yes.
I'm going to play laser tag.
And they're gonna remember that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like just being a kid, like just be able to. I feel like you see someone like as like adults, we just get this beat out of us, right? Like this kid being a kid.
Yes.
And you see someone dancing or playing or do something, you're like, oh, that guy's weird. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that guy. You know, right?
Well, I think it has to get like you said, it has to be conditioned out of us because no one taught my toddlers how to play.
Yeah.
But we get taught how not to play.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so how do you get back? Like it's inherent that we're playful.
And I think having a kid will kind of do that. You see them play and you see them doing like she does these like weird little dances and everything. I'm like, what? I don't know what this is, but I'm joining in. We're doing this too. And like it's just so like and having fun, man. Life makes you down too much to not have
Absolutely.
fun.
And then they test and witness to you having fun with them, and that will generate, when they get older, you're always going to continue to have fun with that.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't want her to be like, oh, dad's working all the time. Why dad's like tired? He doesn't want to do this. Like, no, we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
Whatever silliness you want to participate in, I'm down.
Yes.
I love it, man.
So one of our things is we like remembering our why. You know, we talk about sacrificing time, and we don't sacrifice time for our family for this. Like we get up early Saturday mornings and we go record so that we can sacrifice our time for ourselves and not for the family. So with all your changes and everything else, what be one sacrifice that you've had to give up for the family?
One sacrifice that I've had to give up. Man. I feel pretty blessed right now that I'm having trouble thinking of a
That's
sacrifice.
great. Yeah.
Awesome,
That's-
yeah.
I mean, really, it's sleep is really like the main. It's like
That's
the
a big
only
one.
thing
Yeah.
for parents that's gonna have.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's tough. My wife and I were very fortunate in that like neither of us work. I just do social media. Most people don't have that. But, like we try and tag team as much as we can. She takes her at night, and then when she wakes up at 6 in the morning, then I take her and we go to the Y and I drop her off at child watch so that I can work out and then go off and do whatever. Go to see YouTube. So like I would say sleep probably. I think a lot of parents relate to that one.
That's great. And I think it's important to like note that like you built like you made that a priority to achieve that.
Yes.
Like and sometimes people look at it and say, well, this is the life I've been destined. I have to stay in this job. I have to stay in this role and because there's not another way. And Liam's lucky because he's got it, but they don't see the side of you making the choice and saying, well, my priority is the ability to create for myself a scenario where I can do these things.
That is true. But at the same time, I'm also very blessed in how it worked out. It could have,
Right.
I could have done everything like right, quote unquote,
Sure.
scare quotes, and it might have gone poorly. So like a lot of parents will be kind of like, stuck in at least temporarily in what they're doing. Job, what you have to do. You have to do these things to get by. But like I think just being able to set that aside a little bit and still trying to like do the other things, and I just like for me, it's just like I just said earlier, it's like starting one thing at a time. The thing I notice so much with everybody, not just for everybody, you try and do so much at once. And that's where I think people get caught up and then they fail. Like literally just starting with one thing, and it does steam. It really gets easier.
So follow up to that, your journey. Did you do both for a while? Did you wait to scale, like leaving your whole job?
I was working in sleep medicine, so I was working overnights, like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. 0 stars do not recommend. Like, if you have to work nights, you have to work nights. I did it for like 8 years.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But like sleeping during the night and waking up like a human being in the morning, amazing. It's one of the greatest things. Anyway, what was the question?
So did you stay in
Yes.
sleep medicine and then build this, or did you just say I'm leaving sleep medicine?
No, I stayed in. I worked at my job for a long time, for like years after I started social media. Before eventually, I was like, okay, you can probably quit your job. I told that to my wife, so she quit working on it. But then I stayed at my job for even longer, and it wasn't until a while. It's like, okay, I'm making enough money that we're not going to be like, we're not Bezos here, but like I can get by just fine. So like, it's time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by. That's why.
Yes.
Man, Art, that's a
Good song. Yes. That's a good gym cut right there. Get in the gym. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Oh gosh, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's a testament. And like I said, you got to put in the work, and that's what you want your kids to see. Is like, Dad took this leap to do this, but behind the scenes, everybody can say, "Oh, he was lucky. He was at the right time, the right place." But what they don't see is the 8 years of working, the overnights, the graveyard shift, and putting your wife first. Even tell her, "Hey, you can step away. Like, we're good right now," and then continue on with that graveyard shift. And so finally, it came to the point where, hey, now we're good. Now I can take that last final step over the line. And we're there.
It does take a lot of work. I will say, like, finding something you enjoy. Like, I just enjoy talking about nutrition and like fitness and all that stuff. So like, it was great that it never really felt like a slog. It never felt like, even work for, like, I don't work a day in my life now. I get on screen and I bite into raw onions to be a clown and like we'll do some weird recipe and then talk about fighting. And like, that's my thing. It's weird, but I love it. Like, I enjoy it. Yeah. So
You found your corner. You found your corner, man.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. And now you got a whole room called the daughter. Yeah, you found your corner, and now you got a whole room that's going to take up, you're in a new season. So we're excited for you, man. Love that you stopped by.
Yes.
Appreciate it. But I will not end the podcast today. I will let you end the podcast.
Okay, bye.
Ain't no welcome. Hit 'em.
3.